I need to start all the things. The new project bug after this elbow surgery recovery has bitten me hard. I want to start so many projects, and I have started a few. Hi friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Hello, thanks for coming over. Thanks for stopping by in these wild and crazy times in the universe, in our country, and also in my house. Currently, it is Friday morning. Is it still morning? It is 11:57. It's morning for 3 minutes. I've got to scramble and record this. Both of my kids are sleeping. Yes, I said both. Nova is home from school sick today because she was throwing up. I swear to you, it is never ending. Maybe it's a good thing that you're coming over virtually so that the germs do not infect you. I have not one, but 2 baby monitors. In fact, Nova's I almost never look at anymore, but I'm really hoping that she's napping. The rule is anytime she stays home from school, she has to take a nap if she's sick. So I'm hoping I can get this recorded while that's happening. The baby is asleep. He was throwing up on Sunday. And I had to pick up Nova from school yesterday early, and here we are. My husband is out of town until the day that you see this video, and my least favorite thing in the world is throw up. Can't deal with it. Let's not talk about that. I have some finished objects, you guys. Finished objects. I know. Who am I? Did I even have elbow surgery? I did, in fact. I still have to wear this for another 5 days, I think, and then I get to take this wrist brace off. But you are witnesses. I'm about to be very rebellious and take it off right now because this is one of my finished objects. So, we've got lots of things to talk about. The first of which is the elephant in the room, and I dyed my hair. You may notice or not, I don't know, depending on the lighting. It is way less red than I wanted it to be. It's kind of like an auburny color that totally matches this sweater. If you've been around for a very long time, this channel is 8 years old. Almost. Monday is our 8-year podiversary. I can't believe that. But if you remember, I used to have red hair. I used to always have red hair. My hair was red for years, and I quit dyeing it when we started trying to get pregnant. And then after we had babies, I just didn't think that I was able to keep up with that. So I stopped dyeing my hair, and I have probably not had red hair for 5 years, 6 years at this point, maybe a little longer. And they do not make the red hair dye that I used to use. I used to have red hair, like not quite that red, but pretty darn red. And then it would fade into like a really fun color. This is out of a box. I think it looks really nice, but it's not the color I was going for. So I'm gonna have to do some more experimenting. I just didn't want to fry my hair. So we're gonna have it look like this for a little while. I don't really want to bleach my hair, and the dye that I used to use didn't need that. So I don't know what's up with this, but it's fine. It's fine. It makes me happy. It's not brown. Nothing is wrong with my brown hair. I just am tired of having it for 5 years and needed a change. Grab your beverage, whatever that is. Let's spend some cozy time together. I'm drinking electrolytes, which also kind of match what I'm wearing. Let's talk finished objects. This is a finished cardigan. I was hell-bent on finishing this cardigan before elbow surgery. And it is April something right now. It might be the 10th or the 11th or the 9th. Who knows? You know what? My watch can tell me, can't it? Friday the 11th. Solved that mystery. The miracles of technology. I had surgery 2 weeks and 5 days ago. I have surgery on February 6th. And I was hell-bent on finishing this cardigan before I had surgery because it was possible. But I got hung up on something, and 2 nights before surgery, I put it down because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But I could have finished it the next night, the night before surgery. But I didn't finish it the night before surgery because I was so unsettled and just like, I couldn't sit still. I couldn't calm down. Like, I just was not in the mind space for crafting, so I didn't. And I did not complete my goal of finishing this before surgery. When I picked this up a few days ago, I was like, why? What was it? what was it that made me put this down? And what made me put this down was a yarn question. So I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough yarn to do what I wanted, or if I needed to rip out the button band that I had picked up and add more length to the bottom. So the pattern for this is a Joji Locatelli pattern. I love Joji Locatelli. I have made multiple sweaters from her. It's called the Boxy Raglan. This is her and her dog. She wrote this for like a really, really fluffy worsted weight yarn, but I was using a bulky weight yarn that my friend Maria dyed, and she used to have a yarn company. Hi, friend. Hi, Maria. The bag that you sent me home with this yarn, is a little worse for the wear, but it held up through the entire project. So she used to have a yarn company called Fat Bunny Yarn in Clearwater, Florida. This is 109 yards per 100 grams. It's 100% superwash merino. And the colorway is almost black. This was my swatch. So as you can see, I did not have to break into the swatch. Ooh, this way. What is this? A sticker? You can thank the babies for that. Yes, just gorgeous. And this is how much yarn I have left out of 9 skeins. So I'm gonna stand up and hopefully you'll still be able to hear me and see me. This is the cardigan. It is actually washed and blocked. All the ends are woven in, and I don't have any buttons, but I honestly don't know where to go to get buttons because I always got buttons at Joann's because they had a huge selection, and I don't really want to order buttons online. If you have recommendations for where to go that has buttons, please tell me, because I want to take the cardigan in and like match it to buttons. I don't know anywhere that has buttons. So the thing that hung me up is on the cuff, I did 15 rounds of 1x1 ribbing that looks like this. There we go. And when I was doing the bottom hem, I was like, I don't know if I have enough yarn to do 15 rows. I was very concerned that I did not have enough yarn, in fact. So what I did is I did 12 rows and I bound off. So you can see the difference. This is a little bit longer, right? Then what I did is I picked up all around the button band and I did it all the way to the buttonholes and another 1 or 2 rows past the buttonholes. And I think what hung me up was A, the yarn, and B, I wasn't sure about the placement of the buttonholes, because normally when I do buttonholes on something, I'm gonna try it on and pin out where I want the buttonholes to be so that they're evenly spaced. And you always start with this button. So I generally do not just follow the pattern on buttonholes because everybody's body is different and I tend to have a long torso. So this is like the apex of your breast area. If you have breasts, if you have a chest like this is where you want the first button to be, or the central button, right? Because you don't want it to be up here. You don't want it to be down here and then like have this weird gapping, pooling, all of that. So I typically mark out with stitch markers where this button is and then space the rest of them accordingly. I didn't do that. I just was flying by the seat of my pants. As you can see, it pretty much worked out because the buttonhole's right here. So that's maybe like 1 or 2 rows off, but I don't think it matters. I think honestly, I probably wouldn't even button that one. I'd just leave that one open. I might just never wear it with buttons to begin with. But I was a little concerned about the buttonholes. And I was also concerned about, did I need more length on the cardigan? Because I have a long torso. And so I already added length to this and I have short arms. Now you may look at me and think, oh my gosh, you look so proportional. I'm not, okay, I'm really not. My arms are short, my torso is long. So like my husband has like our hips, he's taller than me, okay? And our hips are kind of in the same area because my torso is so long. Or his hips are like my hip is here and his hip is like up here. It's ridiculous. So I alternated skeins throughout the entirety of this garment. And as you can see, it created this really subtle striping effect. There's no pooling at all. The only part that I could not alternate skeins on is the button band because I just didn't have enough yarn. I could have maybe alternated for 2 rounds, but then I thought that was gonna look even weirder. And I don't mind that. I think it actually gives a nice like finish to the garment, but it's definitely different than the bottom hem. Whoop, just ran into the chair. You can see the color is different, right? So this is part of the sweater, and then this is button band. There's my tails poking out that I haven't clipped off yet, but I'm not mad at it. And it's super duper soft. Before blocking, the sleeves were about right here, and I figured after blocking they would be up here, and I was exactly right, because this is superwash merino. It added a few inches of length on the bottom and a few little bits of positive ease, which I love. I did not make this nearly as much positive ease as she recommends in the pattern because I knew I wasn't gonna have enough yarn. In fact, what size did I make? I picked that so long ago that I can barely remember. Hold, please. So I had 981 yards total. I made the 3rd size, which was a finished bust circumference of 51.5 inches. That is really only, I think my bust circumference currently, I haven't measured it in a while, but it's about 48 inches, or that can't be right. There's no way my bust circumference is 48 inches. Is that right? Maybe it is. Let's measure, shall we? We're just gonna find out a lot of things today together. I'm gonna measure it on top of the cardigan, which is ridiculous, I know, but it will give us some idea. Maybe it is 48 inches, but I wanna say it's like 30? Yeah, it's 38. I might be at, this is pulling up like 39, 40. It's probably 38 and a half. That's my guess. The reason that's my guess is because before I had children, it was a solid 41 something. And now, now it has shrunk multiple inches because I have nursed 2 babies and they just sucked the life out of me. And this is an issue that I'm having like with a lot of my clothing actually, is I used to feel a little more proportional because my boobs were bigger. And now this circumference is kind of the same circumference as my belly, tummy area. And so some of my clothing is pulling really awkwardly around my stomach because it doesn't have the top part to balance it out. And I don't like that. And I know, like, however you feel about your body, I am not invalidating that at all. I know some of you are like, whatever, skinny girl problems. Listen, I get it, okay? But everybody has stuff about their body. Everybody, no matter what size your body is. And I generally like myself, but I don't love the way my clothing is fitting. And it's been very difficult to rectify that. And I don't mean rectify it as in like change my body. I mean, it's been very hard to find clothing after Noah because proportionally, I am not the same. My hips are wider, my chest is smaller, my stomach is bigger and rounder and softer. And it probably always will be like that because I grew 2 humans in my body. So I don't know why I went on that tangent. Circumference of this sweater. So this is supposed to have a finished measurement for size 3 of 51.5 inches, which for my body would be, gosh, a 12-inch positive ease. It's recommended to be worn with 12 to 16 inches of positive ease. I do not think there is 12 inches of positive ease in this. I think there's maybe 8, but I love it. I love the fit. I love the comfiness. I love the roominess. I love how soft it is. This is magical. It's magical. And I am so delighted. I have to send a picture to my friend Maria and be like, look what your yarn became. It's so beautiful. I have this tiny little nug left. I haven't weighed this, but it's probably 15 grams, maybe 20 if I'm lucky, but I doubt it. So theoretically, I could have added safely 1, maybe 2 more rows to the bottom of the hem, but I'm not upset. I'm not upset about how it looks. I don't think anyone's gonna notice. It's a perfect length on me. And I'm gonna stand way back here. You can see this is where it hits. It's like mid-butt. And before blocking, it was like up a little higher. So this is how much ease. Definitely not 12 inches. But I'm really, really, really happy with it. I have only good things to say about the pattern. I have only good things to say about the yarn, and it is so soft. It's like hot outside today. It's April in Florida, so it's basically winter time is over. It's almost summer. But I mean, the air conditioning's on, but I'm not hot. Like, I'm really comfortable wearing this. And so I will continue to wear it until I'm too hot, which will probably be when the air cuts off. I really need to take some photos of this, but can we just appreciate, I mean, the colors on this are just phenomenal. I love it so much. But wait, there's more. I have another finished object. This one you saw last time when I was talking about Joann's, and it is a hippo. Nova is dying for this hippo. The pattern for the hippo is called Hippo No Sew or something like that. I got it on Etsy for like $1.50. And the yarn that I used, I had 2 balls of Premier Parfait XL Palm Party, which is 36 yards for 100 grams. So I had 102 yards of this. This is how much I have left. A solid, well, that's probably more than a yard, but barely. Last time I was like, do you know, I might not even break into the second ball of yarn. Yes, that was incorrect, okay? I failed to notice that the head in the pattern of this hippo was twice as big as the body. This head is gigantic, okay? It's huge. Last time you saw it, I think I was like right here. That's how far I had gotten. So I actually worked this, and this head that you are seeing is not as big as the head is supposed to be, because I knew I was gonna run out of yarn. I got to about here, and I was like, nope, there's literally no way that I'm going to be able to do this and not run out of yarn. So I made 2 ears, and then I made the nose working from the other end of the ball, and I looked at how much yarn I had left, and I was like, nope. So I ripped it back. There are 2 sections in this head where you repeat or you work straight for 3 rounds. So you essentially increase to a certain amount of stitches, then you work 3 rounds in that size, then you go do some more increases or decreases, and you work 3 rounds with that same stitch count. I took 1 round out of each of those sections. So this head is actually shorter than it should be, and I took 1 round out of the nose. So here we go. Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen? I love it. This hippo, Nova has already named it. Its name is Nemo, not Nemo, Nemo. I love everything about this hippo. I stuffed it really firmly, but don't worry, she will compress it down by loving it aggressively. This is definitely her vibe. It's definitely my vibe because I love neon, but hot pink and pink in general and purple are her favorites. The hardest part of this for me was embroidering the nose and the eyes because I just used worsted weight black acrylic yarn. I don't have any chenille or big black yarn of any kind. So I had to use worsted weight, which meant I had to go over it and over it and over it. This is like 4 strands because the fuzzy yarn kind of eats it. Like the first strand sunk in so far, and it's not like I pulled it tightly, but it sunk in so far you could barely see it. So I think I did a pretty good job. I embroidered the eyes. You're supposed to use safety eyes. I don't have any anywhere. In my entire yarn stash, I don't have any safety eyes. So I embroidered them. I was trying to do hearts like I did on the doll that I made for Nova, but it was looking so awful. I think I unpicked these eyes like 3 or 4 times. I unpicked 2 hearts because they just looked ridiculous, and I decided to do it this way, which they're not exactly even, but I think they're close enough. Like certainly from back here, they're close enough. If you get real close, you can tell that this one is a little bit of a different size, but I'm happy with it. Just the embroidering and then slip stitching this nose on. So you don't, it's called a no-sew pattern. I'm not entirely sure that that is correct. Maybe it's correct, but I feel like it's some semantics, right? So you don't sew this nose on, you crochet it on, but it would have been easier to sew it. Like I think crocheting it on was actually harder, although it did give a really nice finish. Like you can just barely even see where it's attached. And then these, you pick up a stitch, you work some, and then you still have to sew the other side of the ear down. So I guess it's not like all the little limbs and all of this stuff you don't have to sew on. So I don't know if no sew is like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's semantics. There was still some assembly required, but I love it. I love it. I love it. If you want to make your own hippo, I'm going to link this specific yarn through Premiere down below. And I'm also going to link the pattern. I will not say that this is a pattern for someone who has never made an amigurumi before, because they don't explain anything. They just literally give you the pattern. For example, these are bobble stitches. They don't tell you how to work a bobble stitch. And I am a fairly experienced crocheter, and I could not remember how to work a bobble stitch, and I had to look it up on the internet, which is fine. But I feel like if you're using a special stitch in your pattern that's not just like a single or a double crochet or something like that, like just tell me what it is, tell me how many yarn overs, you know. Also, full disclosure, you will need to make the pattern as written, you will need 3 balls of Parfait XL Palm Party, but you can make it with 2 if you just take out these 2 rounds. Do you need a hippo made in this yarn? I think you do. And if you don't need a hippo made in this yarn, I think you need a stuffy of some kind made in this yarn. This is so awesome. I love it so much. I love it. And Nova loves it. And now I'm going to take a picture of it, and then she can have it. So that's 2 finished objects, you guys. And now shall we talk about projects that I have started. Did I ever even say where you can find me on the interweb? Obviously you found me here on the interweb, on my YouTubes. You can also find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, and if you need to email me, it's thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. The first new pattern I have started is this. It's a Little Drop of Wonderful. This is a pattern by Allie of Little Drops of Wonderful. If you don't know who Allie is, I mean, look her up. I'll link her below. She's delightful. I did not even know she had a pattern for this. And I don't know, like, was I living under a rock? I think that I was living under a rock when this pattern came out, because there was a time, look at how cute these are. They're so cute. There was a time after Nova reached a certain age and before Noah was born, where I just could not keep up with podcasts because I was just really overwhelmed with life and everything. And I didn't have any headphones. Like I couldn't just put an earbud in. So I missed a lot of podcasts from that era. And I think that maybe she designed this pattern during the time that I wasn't watching as frequently. And if you just love crafty bits and bobs of all kinds, crochet, knitting, cross stitch, all of that, you need to watch Allie's channel, because she is a truly delightful person, and she lives in the UK. And once upon a time in 2018, I went to the UK and I didn't realize we were very close to each other. Otherwise I would have tried to meet up with her. Anyways, you need to watch her channel. But she has this pattern for a Little Drop of Wonderful, and it's free. And so I was like, I need to make a Little Drop of Wonderful. So I went in this stash and I pulled out this yarn, which is Red Heart, an Italian Story. It is made in Italy. Fancy. It says it's a worsted weight. It's pretty thin for a worsted weight, let me tell you. It is 100 grams, 218 yards. It has all kinds of stuff in here. 46% nylon, 28% acrylic, 20% mohair, and 6% polyester. It's essentially a fluffy sequin yarn. See the sequins? And I haven't known what to make with this, and I still have so much left. I have a couple of these balls, but I made the body, and I kind of love how the sequins are subtle. You can't see them from far away really, but the closer you get, you're like, ooh, it's sparkly. So I have the body. I have marked out where the little feet are gonna be and the arms, and I think I did one arm. So this will be like attached. Focus. There we go. So it's gonna have, I need to make 3 more of these. It's a little Ami pattern. I did it over the course, it's super quick, honestly. Like the whole thing, you could probably sit down and do it in an hour or 2. It only has 28 rounds plus limbs. That's not a lot, but I was working on it very slowly because of my elbow. I don't want to overdo it, but I finished the body and I actually started another one. Is that crazy? Because I wanted one in a non-fuzzy yarn, and all I have is the little pointy bit at the top. So these are roughly the same size, but this is a completely different yarn. So this is a sparkly yarn. I'm guessing this is a sport weight. I have no information. This is yarn that came from Temu a while ago. It's one random 50-gram ball of 100% acrylic, or maybe it's not acrylic because it has the sparkle in it, but I don't know really what the fiber content is. And that is how far I have gotten. It's super cute. I think it'll make wonderful little drops of wonderful. But I'm also thinking when I finish this one, if I choose to make another one, I might hold this yarn double because these really do not take a lot of yarn, and it would be easier on my hands, on my arm, on my brain if this was just a little bigger. Can you imagine a little drop of wonderful in this yarn? It would be pink and fluffy. Oh my gosh. I think I don't have any more of this yarn. I was gonna say, I think I need one in my life. Then I'd have to place another yarn order. We'll see. I may have to do that because the Hippo says yes. Nemo the Hippo says you need a little drop of wonderful in your life. The hook that I am using, I just guessed at. It's a 3.75 millimeter hook. I crochet very tightly, so that your mileage may vary on that. But this is a free pattern. So I'll link the pattern below, and I'll link Allie below, and you need to go watch her channel if you don't already, because it's just delightful. And all of this, the Hippo, my leftover yarn, the little drops of wonderful, all living with plenty of room to spare in this giant bag that Lynn from Daybreak Knots and Knits sent me. Oh, there's fuzz all over the bottom. Pink fuzz. She made this specially for me. So I will link her down as well. If you would like a lovely bag made for you, you can go to her website and check out her offerings. Now, I have started 2 more projects. I know, you guys, I know. One is a pair of socks and one is a shawl. So the first pair of socks I'm gonna show you, actually, these were started before, and I just started the second sock. So this is Knit Picks Felice yarn. Before surgery, this sock was done, completely done. Ignore that stitch marker. This is, I don't even remember what the colorway is, but it probably doesn't matter because you can't get it anyways. It's Hot Shot. This is years old, this Knit Picks Felice. And then the contrast toes, heels, and cuffs was just a random mini skein that I had in my stash. So I'm working on the second sock. Last time you saw this, if indeed you did, I had just started the cuff. So I finished the cuff. I have actually worked all of this. I've finished the heel, and I have started on the foot. Squeaky trash people again, you guys. So yeah, I think for the entire sock, I need to do 7 stripes more for the foot. Let's see here, if I can match them up. I have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more stripes. That's not bad at all. And after I do 5 more stripes, that pair of socks will be done. And my plan is to cast on with the sock kit that I got from Premier. I still haven't opened it because I want to open it when I start the sock kit. But that sock has gotten a little bit of love. And again, I've been working on it just like 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a time. I had one meeting where I worked on it like maybe for 45 minutes, but I was going very slowly. So that's a pair of socks that you saw before. But I've started a new pair of socks because my other sock bag was empty. If you watched the Finish a Frog video that was several months ago, there were several projects in there that needed to be frogged. One was a shawl that has been frogged, and the yarn I actually decided I didn't want anymore, and I wasn't gonna, I just for some reason couldn't jive with that yarn, and so I gifted it to someone who I know would use it. This yarn has been frogged. This was a hat, or a hat kind of. It was going to be a hat design. And there's 2 more projects that still need to be frogged. This yarn was a gift a long time ago from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Robin, who sent me this particular self-striping yarn because it was called Little Nova. And it's Twisted Whimsy yarns, 75-25 merino nylon, 460 yards to 100 grams. So that's a fair amount of yardage. And it was a sock set. So it came with this stripy yarn as well as this gold. I had, I don't know, the entire mini pretty much worked up into a hat and a good chunk of this yarn. So I frogged it and I decided to start a pair of socks. For some reason, I just didn't want to make socks with it in the first place because I had this complex of like, I have to make it into something special. But actually, what is most special is for me is to make a pair of socks with it because I wear socks to sleep in every single night. Only since having children. Before that, never could a sock touch my foot while I was sleeping. But since having Nova and Noah, I cannot sleep without wool socks on my feet. So I will wear these a lot. It will get way more wear than even if the hat design had worked out. So I've done my 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. I did 1 single round of stockinette in the gold before I started the stripe sequence, and I'm about 3 stripes in. What I will say is I did not pay attention when I was starting this sock, and I just started knitting. And sure, that would be fine if I wasn't such a perfectionist. You know, you can relate if you're a perfectionist. I picked up in the middle of a stripe. So there was a dark like gray stripe right here, and it was that for 3 rows, and then it immediately went back to this gold color, and I couldn't deal with that. So I picked up stitches below the cuff. I ripped out those 6 or 7 rows and I redone it. I picked up on the white because now they're going to match. So the next color is going to be a dark blue, followed by a light pink, and then this kind of this color, that's where I had originally picked up, and then gold, and then it's going to restart the entire sequence. So yeah, I am so enjoying working on this. I don't know if it's because I already worked with this yarn a bunch, so it's all crinkly. I don't mind working with crinkly ramen noodle yarn at all. That makes me want ramen noodles really bad. I don't mind working with crinkly ramen noodle yarn, but it feels so plump and squishy to work up. Like, I am really enjoying working on those socks. So yeah, and you may think, oh my gosh, that's so much you have gotten done. Kind of, but it has been like a month of crocheting and knitting very sparingly. And I slowly am like, the first couple of days, I literally did 1 round on that hippo, right? And then after that, I branched out a little more and a little more. And then when I went to finish this cardigan, I had 3 rows of the neckband and a bind off. And I actually did that all in one evening. And I was afraid that it was going to hurt my elbow. I was prepared to stop like 1 or 2 rows in. I didn't really have any elbow pain. At the very end, my elbow was a little sore, but by that point I was like halfway through the bind off, so I just finished it. I wasn't going to leave it. But my hands hurt way more than my elbow. Like, I don't have the muscles. Like, how fast do you lose your muscle memory? The memory is in there, but the strength is gone. Like, just using these needles and working these 3 rounds of 1x1 ribbing and a bind off, like, killed my hands. What is up with that? I'm gonna have to rebuild all these muscles? Unacceptable. But I have started one more project. Now, this is not technically so new because I've picked the yarn for this. I actually picked it in December on New Year's Eve. This is an unofficial make-along that I'm doing with my friend Emmy. It is a entrelac Tunisian crochet shawl called the Landscape Triangle Shawl. It is a pattern by Martin Up North, and it's entrelac. I have never done entrelac in my life. It requires 13 colors of DK weight yarn. I did not have anywhere near enough colors of DK weight yarn to make that work, so I am using fingering weight yarn and I'm just holding it double. I have wound up 11 skeins of yarn. I do not have, the border at the end calls for 2 colors. I think I'm gonna finish the entire shawl and then decide what I want the border to be. It definitely needs a border because it will curl. Tunisian crochet curls a lot if you don't treat it appropriately. So originally I picked these colors, then I wound 12 skeins of yarn, because one of them I have 2 skeins of, which is the most yarn I've ever wound at one time, and boy was that a job. Before I could start this pattern, I had to actually take all of these cakes of yarn that I had wound and split them in half using my scale, because I need to hold them double, and I don't want to bother with working from the inside and the outside of the ball. It's just nonsense, especially on a pattern like this. So I have them all in this giant bucket. This is something this bucket I'm pretty sure I've had like since college. And this is my notions pouch. This was actually made for me ages ago by Clarisabeth, who is Crochet Cakes. And you can see it down at the bottom. It says, handmade with love by Crochet Cakes. They're her cupcake notion pouches. She doesn't make these anymore, and I really treasure this. Like, I love this notions pouch so much. It's got a pin, it's got scissors, it's got my crochet hook, it's got some stitch markers, just things I will need for this pattern. So this is what it looks like. All of my yarn is in these plastic sandwich bags, double caked, with the yarn label, if there is one, and a little sticky note that says what letter of yarn this is. So far I have used 2 yarns, A and B. This yarn is a Numa. Is that right? Yes, Numa yarn. This came from somebody who sent me this, called the Yarn Fairy, years ago. It is 100% superwash merino, 500 yards. And the reason this is color A is because it's the yarn I needed the most of. And color B is a gray yarn from Peepaloo Fields. It was a gift from my friend Amanda, and it is a much thinner fingering weight yarn. It's got 464 yards. So those are the only 2 colors I've used so far. I have one more row of the red, and then it's gonna start going into color C and D and E, and I'm very excited about that. And you'll see, I can't pull those all out because it's ridiculous. All of these yarns that I have are linked in my Ravelry page, or they're listed in my Ravelry page. 2 of the skeins I don't have any information on other than there's some kind of wool, because they were a gift years ago from a lady who went to a church that I used to go to, and she just kind of got to the point where she couldn't use fingering weight yarn anymore, and so she gave me some skeins, but they didn't come with any information at all. So I don't have fiber content, nothing. But I've listed all of that out on my Ravelry page. It's begun. Look how cool this is. So you essentially work 1 square at a time, and you work from, like, you obviously start here, and then you work, every row is going to have 1 more square. This pattern, let me tell you, hurts my brain. I think I have it. I hope that I can work on this some tonight so that I can like cement it in my brain, and then I think I'll have it. It's like I understand how to do it, but I don't really understand why it works. And the reason it works is math. And I don't know, like, for example, if you start over here, yeah, I would start on the right side. So this has, I'm just using for example numbers, this is not pattern numbers, like 10 rows and 6 stitches. But over here, this one has 6 rows and 10 stitches, and that's how you make them symmetrical. And then like every row every square in the middle has a different number. And then when you're working the squares, you have like 2 more stitches than you can count in your fabric on your hook. And this edge stitch does not count as a stitch. So like, I get it. Like, my brain is understanding how to do it. This row, this red row, was really hard for me. This row, I made myself stay up too late last night and just complete these 4 squares, because I was like, if I don't, I'm gonna be starting over from scratch the next time I pick this up. So I think I can do it just with the numbers and it won't be a problem. But I'm not really sure like why does it work? I don't know. Math. Designing patterns is hard. But it works. I'm glad he completely wrote out the first 3 rows. And I'm really glad that happened, because I think I would have been majorly confused otherwise. From this point on, the rows are not written out, but you have the technique in this row to refer to. So yeah, I am kind of in love with it. The fabric is really dense and squishy because I'm holding it double, and I'm happy with the hook that I chose because some of these yarns are really thin and some of them are more plump. So like this square is a little more see-through, if it'll focus, than this one. But yeah, it's gonna just be an explosion of color. And it's super squishy, super fun to work. And one of the things I'm excited about is if my elbow is bothering me, I could literally just work one square and put it down, and it's not like stopping in the middle of a row. I can just mark on the pattern where I left off, and there we go. So I'm gonna move this stitch marker up here. It's an eyeball. Why is it an eyeball? Why not? This one's just hanging out. That's for if I need to like mark a stitch or something, or I have to stop in the middle of the row for some reason. So that's where I will be. I'm really excited to finally be working on that, because we have been talking about working on this for months, and I had to finish my other Tunisian shawl first, and then I picked out all the colors, and then I had elbow surgery. So it's been a long time coming. It's a super cool project, and I have really been enjoying starting new things. The last thing I will show you is a teeny tiny bit of progress on my cross stitch. Truly hardly any progress. I have added 1.5 letters. This word will eventually be the. I have not touched my cross stitch lately. I really haven't. I've been able to knit and crochet a little bit. Oh my gosh, I did do a little bit of weaving, but that's way in the back. I'll show you it next time. Eventually that will say live, laugh, loot the bodies. And I do think I will finish that. It just may be a while. But I have been able to knit and crochet sparingly, but slowly getting a little bit more. This, officially, I will get to stop wearing Tuesday next week. So that's just a few days away. I've started physical therapy. It's going better than I thought it would, honestly. I thought that I would be just like in so much pain afterwards, and I'm not. Like, it's sore, but I ice it and it's okay. And so yeah, that's been really great. Life has not slowed down here at all. Still tons of doctor's appointments for Noah. He was throwing up on Sunday. Noah is throwing up this morning. Josiah's been out of town all week in Texas for work. And I'm like, I just can't, I cannot. Okay. And next week, Nova's having a procedure. I have a rant. If you're here for a rant, stick around. So a while ago, I said specifically on the channel that while my kids may make an appearance on the channel, I'm not against them making an appearance. I'm not against sharing their lives with you. They'll be in vlogs, etc. if I do them. But the personal details of their life, I'm going to have to remove from the channel going forward because people are crazy. And for example, Nova is getting a procedure next week. And the place that I have been able to talk about that is in the members section of YouTube and Patreon. It's the same content. And those people who are, some of whom are just such dear friends now, get essentially one vlog a week. So it's like 4 extra videos a month. Typically those are 20 to 25 minutes long. The one I posted last night was 25 minutes long. Lots of baby content, lots of chattiness. There has not been a lot of crafting recently just because I haven't been able to, but yesterday's one had a lot of crafting. And the reason that I have done this is not so that I can make tons of money, because that's not at all what's happening. It is because people are nuts on the internet. And my job is I'm a pastor of a little inclusive church in St. Petersburg that I started in 2020. And I love it. It's delightful. But people are very against that. And like, you can believe whatever you want, but like, don't be a jerk, right? People are such jerks. And I don't care what you say to me. Like, if somebody wants to be nasty on the internet, I'm just gonna delete the comment and I'm gonna block them. Like, I don't know these people who are being nasty. And in the YouTube sphere, in my crochet sphere, everybody is delightful. I know that's not the case for like people with really big channels, but in my little circle, this is not a huge channel, right? We just are friends. I'm so happy you're here. I love to spend time with you. You love to spend time here seeing all the things that we're creating. And if anyone is nasty, which almost never happens, this entire year so far, in 4 months, I have not deleted a single comment, I don't think. Maybe I deleted one on the Temu video because people had big feelings about that. But in general, people are really lovely. And like, this is my space of happiness and calm. And I want that to be for everyone who watches these videos. However, in my job, like I have the person that I started the church with does like video and audio and stuff. And so he like records the services and he'll post clips of whatever I talked about that Sunday. And he will post them online and people will lose their minds. Like, I don't even go on social media for the church, like almost never, because it's bad for your health. Like, these people are crazy. And something happened just this week, 2 days ago, where it just made me feel really justified, because some people have been a little snippy about like, you are just trying to make money, or you're just trying to force people into like supporting you somehow. And I'm like, you're like gatekeeping your kids. I mean, if you want to think that, that's fine. But what happened earlier this week is through the church social media, some person found, and my profile is public, like the Cozy Cottage Crochet is public, it's not private, right? So it's not hard to find, but like found my personal Instagram, which is the Cozy Cottage Crochet, tagged me and said all kinds of insane things, and started, of course they started with, I have a lot of respect for Hannah, and then followed by just like insanity, and said stuff about my kids. And I literally, the second it popped up on my phone, because they tagged my personal Instagram account, I was like, nope. And I deleted it all, and I didn't even read all of it. But the parts that I did read were wild. And I blocked the person, and I went into the church account and I blocked the person so that they cannot like access the content anymore. But that kind of stuff makes me be like, yep, this is why I can't have my kids' personal information out, because of my job. Like I almost feel like I have some kind of secretive, classified job that I can't talk, but of course I can talk about my job, but like, I feel like I don't want it to put my kids in any kind of danger. And so Noah has had what feels like 100 doctor's appointments in the last 2 months. It's probably been 20, but dang, that's a lot. I've talked about all of that it's like a restricted space. So I suppose if someone was really, really trying, they could like join and cause trouble, but no one has done that. Everyone has been truly just lovely and magical. And it just made me feel like so thankful that I have not been talking about what's been going on publicly with Noah and what is about to go on with Nova, because it just makes me nervous that people who are out to get the church or whatever would like track me down and then try to get at my kids. Like, that makes me question everything. So all that to say, I don't know what the point of that was. People are crazy on the internet. We all know this, but I have had to put some like guardrails in place, because I do not want anybody to be able to just walk up to my kid on the street and be like, so I heard that you got this. And I've kind of changed like how I post stuff too. Like, if we're out doing something really fun, and I might wait till we're done before I post it even on Instagram. And I was doing that before I made the official announcement, but it's definitely, I've ramped it up a little bit. And even like, if you look at, not that I post on my Instagram wall, I pretty much hang out in stories all the time. And I post my kids' pictures in stories. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not like protective super of their faces, but just like personal detail of their lives is where I've had to be like, nope, can't talk about that right now. So anyways, all that to say, if you want to know what's going on with Noah and Nova, I would be happy to share that with you, but there's a boundary to prevent crazy people from being able to know that information. And so you can join me on Patreon, or you can join me on the member section of YouTube. Again, it's the same videos. And on Patreon, there's a price inclusive option that's $3. So it's 75 cents a video, I guess, in the month. So yeah, I did not mean that to turn into an ad. I really am just really grateful for the community that I have found there, because they've been so supportive with Noah being so just ill over the last few weeks. So it's been wild. Josiah's not gonna be home until tomorrow night for me, tonight for you, around 8 p.m. So the kids will already be in bed. And then I hope, I'm gonna stay up and wait for him, but that hopefully he lets me go to bed, because your girl is tired. Solo parenting, 2 kids all week, it's not for the faint of heart. And I know some of you are single parents and you do this all the time, 24/7, and I just support and applaud you. And of course you do what you have to do, right? Like on no planet would I not clean up my daughter's throw up, no matter how tired I was, right? Or like help her in any way that I possibly could, and put them to bed and still do the dishes and still do the laundry and still like do all of the things that need to be done to keep this house running. I would absolutely do that, as would anyone who has a family and loves their kids. And I will be glad when Josiah is back home, because it's been not a calm week to have 50% of your parenting / marriage team out. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to talk about. I feel like I had all kinds of things to talk about, but instead I went on a rant and now everything has left my brain. I know I've been talking for like 50 minutes already, and I do believe Nova is asleep. Let's check the monitor. It's really hard to see. That's why I never look at it. I do think she's asleep. The baby is still asleep. I need to get this uploaded. And yeah. I need to drink my electrolytes. If you are a gluten-free person, we're going to be cutting gluten for a little bit, just to help Noah, possibly. I don't know if it's going to help, but I already cannot buy a bunch of the bread in stores because it has things that he is allergic to in it. And so I make our bread almost always, but it has wheat in it. So we're cutting gluten at least until the end of April to see if there's any change. So far, there has been 0 change. I've had a couple people recommend brands to me. Trader Joe's has a gluten-free bread that is fine. It's fine. I got it, it's fine. But if you have like gluten-free, specifically bread recipes that actually rise a little bit and don't have the texture of gum paste. I made gluten-free bread. I've made 2 attempts. The first one did not work out at all. The second one, it didn't rise that much. It was probably only like this tall, and the texture was a little bit off, but it looked like bread, and the flavor was pretty good, but it was a little gummy. I think that I needed to cook it a little bit longer, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I know somebody's going to be like, it's not worth it. Don't bother with the gluten-free bread. But I kind of have to if I want to feed my kid, because he can't have the stuff that's sold in stores. Generally, I could maybe go look at the health food store and see if they have any options that aren't disgusting. If that doesn't work, then maybe he'll get gluten back and we're going to cut out some other stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. But if you are a gluten-free person and you have a bread recipe that like you make or that is really delicious and it's tried and true, please comment below and let me know. Also comment below and let me know, what have you been starting? It's a new year. It's not a new year, it's April. But it's a new year, you guys. Let me know what projects you have started recently, because I would love to know and add them to my list, my never-ending, always growing list of things that are starting. Uh-oh, the baby's crying. I have to end this video. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming over. I hope the germs did not reach through the screen. I hope you are healthy and happy. Please keep crafting, if not to calm the insanity that is going on all around us, just to calm your heart and soul. I will see you next time. Happy crafting. Bye, friends.